meeting of the Brick Township Council to order. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided and published in the Asbury Park Press on December 19, 2014. Copies of the agenda were provided to the newspapers, posted on public bulletin boards, and the Township website. At this time, I would ask that everybody silence their cell phones. The VFW Post 8867 will present its colors. Please stand for the flag salute and remain standing for a moment of silence.
We will now recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Color guard, please stand. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order.
Thank you. You may be seated. Councilman Moore.
Here.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Here.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Here.
Councilman Fosman.
Here.
Councilwoman Ponterero.
Here.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Here.
Councilman Mumolo.
Here.
Thank you. The mayor, would you like to speak?
One year and 5 days ago, I stood here to announce our 100-day plan to put Brick back on the right track. And let me tell you, it's definitely working. Government in Brick Township, it was broken. It was out of control. In 2011, we had a property tax raise of 24% in 1 year. And trust in our government was gone. Brick was in a fiscal crisis. We needed more than just a few Band-Aids to get us out of that mess. We needed big changes, and so I called on many of the people here in this audience to help put me through a detailed plan that was well thought out to help fix our broken government and to get our property taxes under control. We had a team put together. It was Democrats, it was Republicans, and it was independents, and they were from all walks of life, from different parts of our community. And one of those people in that transition team actually eventually became a councilwoman. So luckily I was able to meet her, Andrea Zapsik. And together we took a look at what needed to be done to rebuild our neighborhoods, re-energize our community, get taxes and spending under control. Because it all wanted to work together. You wanted to not only get the taxes under control, which is a huge part, and the spending under control, but also re-energize the community, bring pride back to Brick, make it a happier place for everybody who's living here. We came up with that 100-day plan. And there were 72 different items in that plan, and we were able to accomplish 65 of them last year, totally completed them. Those 72 things have improved our quality of life, made government more efficient and responsive, and made us more of a community. On my first day as mayor, my first official day, not January 1st when we were here celebrating and having a party later on, but the first official work day, I called the chief together with all of the department heads, and we had a meeting. And the challenge was to get things to work better here in Brick. And all the department heads have worked so hard, and I'm proud to say they did just that. They made Brick work better. And over the past year, we worked through some things. But we have a new business administrator since that time. She came on in March. We have a new tax assessor since that time. She came on early in the year, and making Brick a better place. Some of the highlights I want to just talk about, some of the highlights from 2014 that came out of that 100-day plan. One was the red light cameras. Everybody knows I reviewed all the statistics on the cameras. Accidents actually increased at 2 out of the 3 intersections. The third intersection, they said, was put in last because there was a problem with T-bone accidents there. when in reality those T-bone accidents were zero for at least 2 years before the red light cameras were put in. They were still zero after they were put in, but if the reason was those T-bone accidents and it was zero before, they're still zero after. The other two intersections, accidents actually increased, the amount of accidents, and it was apparent that the great reason for these cameras was revenue only, and it was ill-gotten gains coming from punitive measures, and I didn't think that was any way to balance a budget. And we took them down, and that decision was validated just a few weeks ago. As I'm sure everybody knows, the rest of the state took them down. So, it took a long time. It took 11 months for the rest of the state to catch up with what we did here in Brick. So I'm proud to say we were way ahead of the curve on the issue. Streamlining government. Brick's government had grown over the previous years and increased in size. We reviewed all the departments and we made some changes. We actually used to have 6 departments here this time last year. We're down to 5 departments. And by cutting out a department, we didn't cut out any of the services. What we did is we moved and we shifted. We cut out some of the higher level positions. We eliminated several director and deputy director positions, some of which were created for and filled with political appointments. Those cuts alone saved $580,000 this year, but it also saves $580,000 plus every single year going forward, because none of those positions were filled and they will not be filled. We began a program to cut overtime. At the very first department head meeting, I said, look, we have a big overtime problem. We need to cut this down. We need to get this out of our budget. And every single department worked especially hard on this issue. And I'm proud to say we reduced overtime in 2014 over $700,000. So over $700,000 savings. Taxes. You need to have non-tax revenue coming into town, because otherwise you're only relying upon tax dollars to pay for your ongoing cost, your ongoing overhead. We were successful in this area. We did hire an in-house grant writer, Tara Paxton, who did an excellent job. And she's worked together with our new business administrator, Joanne, in finding many grants. One of which was huge, that Joanne worked tirelessly on, was the $3.75 million Essential Services Grant to help us with our loss of ratables due to Superstorm Sandy. That really made a huge difference with our budget. $3.75 million, that was a grant that we were able to obtain with hard work, and super job by everybody involved with that in order to obtain the money. Other non-taxable income coming in are EMS services, or emergency medical services. We weren't billing for a number of services. We were underbilling on some other services that health insurance companies would pay extra for. Those were all adjusted to our Medicare recommended rates, and it enables us to maximize our profits with regards to running our EMS services. And those monies could be used for public safety reasons, so that our public safety is increased. We also reviewed and decided to increase the fees charged to utilities and developers for roadwork services provided here by the Brick Township Police. It's another source of income that we were undercharging. When we compared ourselves to surrounding towns, Toms River, Lakewood, Point Pleasant, we were below. And we're a town, a little bit smaller than Toms River, much larger than the 2 Point Pleasants, but our fees were much lower than them. So we increased that, another source of revenue that's not coming out of taxpayers' pockets. It's coming out of utilities. It's coming out of developers for doing the road work. New business ratables, another way to save residents, taxpayers, from paying higher taxes. Attracting businesses is valuable. They provide, obviously, ratables, which helps with the taxes, but they also provide jobs. They provide places for us to shop, places for us to dine. And I'm proud to say a number of new businesses, and I want to say some of them that came here in 2014, and they're also on their way going through the process. Red Robin, the Men's Warehouse, Glow Golf, Roy Rogers, Hardee's, Come to Mama's, Chick-fil-A, the Black Sheep Thrift Shop, and 2 particularly important, the Meridian Fitness Center and possibly the Marriott Hotel. The Meridian Fitness Center is something people that have talked about the Food Town site, which I'll touch on. People wanted a community center. They wanted a pool. They wanted a therapeutic pool. They wanted a gym location. That is all going where the old Branch Brook used to be. The hospital, Meridian, is our largest employer here in town, and they decided to go forward with the project. They have rates going on now, pre-construction rates. They're in the middle of construction. But it's going to be a great facility, and it's something that everybody said, hey, that would be a good idea for the food town. Well, it would be, except for the redeveloper never moved on a food town. The other thing is the Marriott Hotel. Well, opening, I guess, a quarter mile further down from, it's basically you have the food town, a half mile, you have this fitness center, quarter mile, you have the hotel. Another idea that was supposed to be for the food town site, but unfortunately is not going there because it's going about a half mile down the road. It's great that these are private enterprises, private businesses coming to town, and those private businesses will be paying those taxes to help keep residents' taxes lower. Increased communication between government and citizens. Communication with residents is the key to being an effective government. I tried to increase that as much as I could. I had the mayors in and mayor out nights. The mayor in, we're here, we're across the hall. Myself, all the every single department head. Sometimes there's important issues such as the building issues and permits at one point. So we had everybody from that particular department here for that mayor's in. Very important aspect, it's after hours, so you don't have to come try to take time off from work to get a permit or to ask for a copy of your marriage certificate. We're able to service people here after hours. The next one's January 27th from 6 o'clock till the last person leaves. And it's a great opportunity for people not to take the day off from work, come in, meet with the mayor if you want to, but a lot of times you can bypass me, go directly to your department head or whatever, wherever you have the company. It's access to government after hours. The mayor's out nights, that's mayor's in. Mayor's out nights, I'll come anywhere. I think I've said this many times, so I'm not going to touch on it too strongly. Invite me anywhere, Little League fields, somebody's house, somebody's backyard, senior clubhouse, wherever you want me, I'll come, I'll speak. If you want me to bring the police chief along with me, he's willing to come, a particular department head, whatever your community, whatever your organization wants, I will be there. And I answer questions. I don't leave until the questions are over. Talking Brick online talk show. We have a radio show. It's online. There's a link to it on our website, and it's an opportunity for me to take calls and/or answer questions off of Facebook, and it's a live show. And the good thing about it, a great thing about it, Ed Maroney came up with the idea. We received an award for it for Best Innovative Media Idea down at the League of Municipalities, which is great. But what happens is we can go live at any single moment. So hopefully it doesn't happen, but if we have a snow emergency or some other type of emergency, I can go live with this radio show and be on there live to answer people's questions, hopefully have some answers, have resolutions, all that type of thing. And it's available, it's on the internet, so even if power's out, you still have the cell phone and get the internet through your cell phone. It's a way to contact people, and it's a really great idea. And thank Ed Maroney for the idea and for actually implementing it. We're going to continue to use social media. More and more people are on there. We have a Township Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we get feedback on there. I recently, New Year's Eve at midnight, I started my own Twitter account, so it's @MayorDucey, and I'll interact with you, so if you ask a question on there, if you have a comment, I write right back, because it buzzes on my phone, and I look at it and I see what's going on. So I'm still getting used to it, so if I don't get back to you right away, I'm probably having a technical glitch, but I think I've been pretty good so far. Every single person I've usually answered within 5-10 minutes. With a quick tweet response. Somebody wanted to schedule one of my mayor's out nights, and they did it by way of the Twitter account 2 days ago. So it's a good way of communication. We also started earlier in the year an email notification program. It's voluntary. Please sign up through our website, and what you do is you get at least a weekly email about what's going on in town. So if you want to know what band's playing at Summerfest, what movie's playing at our movie festival, or what's on the agenda, the planning board, all these things are sent to you by way of email. So you open it up, you see what's happening for the day or for the week, and it's a great way to keep in touch. So please sign up for it. And that brings it kind of in line with using technology to improve services. When I first took office, there was hundreds of unanswered email complaints. There was a system that was in place where people could say, okay, I'm having a problem with my leaf collection, and they would email it in, and it was just lost. There was hundreds of them that were unanswered. We changed those policies and the workflow to make sure that wouldn't happen anymore, and there's going to definitely be a follow-up on every single request, and that's been happening smoothly, for more than, probably within a month or two of taking office. But it's definitely a system you should use. It's right on our website. It can do good things too. It doesn't have to be complaints. I shouldn't be a negative person. If you have a compliment of somebody and you want to let us know by way of that system as well, please do so. And we have online registration for recreation now, which helps because people no longer have to come here to Town Hall or over to the Civic Plaza to sign up for our different programs. Just want to make your life easier. Credit cards accepted at the clerk's office and at recreation and the registrar's office. Again, you don't have, a lot of people do not carry cash anymore. They want to use the debit cards. Not a problem any longer. And then one of the last things with technology is last year we had a lot of snow, storms, a lot of plowing, a lot of potholes. So we implemented a hotline, which is great. And the hotline, you went right to the top of the list of any pothole repair, as well as the Twitter. We had a hashtag brick pothole, and a lot of people took advantage of that. And we found out that we averaged probably about 20 to 25 potholes a day that we would be able to hear the complaint about, get out there and repair on a daily basis. And that really took care of our program, because I heard a lot more complaints about surrounding towns than I did about brick. Now, there's one thing about brick, though. We have a lot of county and state roads that we can't go out there and repair the pothole. We have to relay that information on. But it's still important, at least it gets to us, so we know what to do with it. If you don't tell us there's something on Route 88, we're not going to know about it, if we don't happen to be personally driving through there. So please take advantage of it. We're going to have it again this year. Hopefully it doesn't snow. Hopefully we don't have as many potholes. But if it does, we have a system in place already, and it's basically flawless. Open government. All of our council meetings, all of our Board of Adjustment and Planning Board meeting minutes are all online. Council meetings, they were always online. But now with the other boards, you want to see what's going on. You want to know about, okay, I just mentioned there was a Hardee's coming. You want to go back, you can take a look, see what the minutes say about a Hardee's coming here, or take a look at what the Meridian Fitness Center was. All those things, all those minutes are online, so you can research and take a look. Putting services out to bid that were never done before. There was animal control services. They were with the same company for 27 years. We never went out and asked for proposals. We finally did this year. No more no-bid contracts. The affordable housing services, it's been forever. We finally went out, asked for other people to give us some proposals. Tell us what you can do for our town, rather than go back to the same people over and over again. One was changed, the other was not, by doing that process. So it's not necessarily we're going out just to, hey, let's change everything, but let's get proposals in. Let's take a look. Let's have an open discussion. Let's have interviews of these firms. Bringing up interviews. Interviews for jobs. That's something that's being done now. It wasn't done in the past here in Town Hall. And that's all the way from the lifeguards. Apparently, it used to be a system with every job, including lifeguards, to everything else. Here's an application. This is the person you're hiring. Well, we don't do that anymore. We do job interviews. And it goes from the lifeguards all the way up to the business administrator. And proud to say we started that process. Increased service to our residents. We reestablished BMAC. It's a great program. It was out of system for a little bit. BMAC, Brick Municipal Alliance Committee. It's our drug prevention and education for our young kids. And it's definitely needed at this time, unfortunately, but it's something that we wanted to get back in place. It implements drug, alcohol, and substance abuse education, and it's back in place now, and we're doing so with a grant that we were able to receive in order to get that program get back going again. Another one is the Buy-in Brick Rewards Program. I talked about that last year. Actually, I just ate dinner a little bit ago, and I used it. It's a card. You bring it into whatever restaurant that's part of it. We have over 30 restaurants and businesses that are involved in it. A couple of them were grand opening. You swipe your card, and if it's say for example, it's a 10% discount. You paid for your lunch. I paid $10 for my lunch today, and I got $1 off my third quarter taxes. So the more businesses that sign up, the better. The more people that have the cards, the better, because then the businesses are more involved. We have over 3,000 people that have the cards. And so that's what we say when we go out to these businesses to try to get them to sign up. 3,000 Brick residents are waiting for you to have one of these cards to come into your store. Where I ate today, a place called Jovo's Deli. It's out on 88. I never went there before they were part of the Buy-in Brick program. So I went there today. I've been there in the past, and it's great food. And I'm glad to see they're part of the program. I probably would have never gone in there if it wasn't for the Buy-in Brick program. And that's what we want to convey to our businesses, so more of them sign up. Improving our family events and family parks and our families' lives. Very important. Summerfest, we put in new acts. We had new food vendors. We had a beer and wine garden for people over 21. And we added some life back to the Summerfest event. And we're going to actually make some more changes coming up this year. We're going to have them in July. So everybody, as opposed to when they're scattered all over the place in the summers of the past, you have one, I'm making up dates, July 9th, and the next one's August 11th, and you weren't sure when they were. They were always on Thursdays, but they weren't. Now, every Thursday in July, we will be over at Windward Beach. We will be there with a concert. We'll be there with food vendors, different food vendors, quality food vendors. We'll be there with a beer and wine garden. We'll be there with great music, and we'll be there with awesome fireworks. Anybody who went there last year, people I've heard from all the time saying how great the fireworks were last year. They were better than the Macy's from the 4th of July and everything else. They were really, really good. Bricktoberfest, brand new event, very successful. Food trucks were there, rides. There was a 5K in the morning, so you were able to go out there and burn your calories off early. You ran your race in the morning, you ran the 5K. It was a mayor's challenge. Hopefully more people will run it next year. I donated $5 of my personal money to POAC for every person who beat me in the race. It raised $300 for a great cause, POAC, Parents of Autistic Children, which is a local organization for autistic children here in town, to give them activities to do and trips to go on. And we always run a surf camp for POAC every year and different things around town. It was successful. The food trucks were great. The rides for the kids. But we heard complaints. Yeah, it was a great event. It was awesome. A little bit expensive. We listened. We're going to change the way the rides were done, and we're going to have all-you-can-ride wristbands and things of that nature. So it's an ongoing process. This entire town, this entire mayorship is an ongoing process. I'm not the one to say, hey, this is the way we're doing it. We did it one year. We saw how it worked. Now we're going to tell the ride operator, listen, we need some less expensive prices. A little too expensive for us. But it was still successful. We're going to move the Halloween Spooktacular moved to a Friday this year, and it was the most crowd we've ever had at one of these things. It was impossible to get candy or to get in line to candy. Everybody ran out of candy, which makes it a success. I know it sounds bad, but that's a good thing because everybody's bags were filled with candy. But at the same time, it was just an awesome event because there were so many families there, and it really brought a sense of a community downtown atmosphere, even though we don't really have a downtown here in Brick. We're at the Drum Point Sports Complex. But instead of businesses in a downtown area, you had people's trunks open that are decorated nice for Halloween and people giving out candy and all the kids of all different ages. And lastly, we built new playground at Windward. We had the great playground that was built by the company, and then we had the Kaboom grant, where we had to have volunteers go out there and build that part of the playground, which is for special needs children. And it was a great day being part of it. I am not great with my hands, so I didn't do much. I know Paul Mumolo and Councilman Fosman did a great job with their hands, along with the chief and a lot of our guys from the DPW, Parks Department and all. They were all out there volunteering their time. I carried a few things around, got some guys some water, that type of thing. But the community came together for the involvement, and that's what counted. And it's great. Now we have other things. We have crime prevention. We reinstated the gang task force. That's back on the books. We have, problems, unfortunately, around town, but we want to have them taken care of. And part of that, we hired 12 new special police officers. And the special police officers are going to handle tasks that right now, or before they were hired, the regular police officers used to handle. So things such as the court security outside. So you'd have regular police officers. Now we're able to have special police officers. Bookings. When a police officer made an arrest, the regular police officer would be the one fingerprinting, asking where do you work, where do you live. Now the regular police officer comes in, drops off the prisoner, goes back out to the street. He's out there where he should be. And we have the special officer here doing that and very important work as well. It also gives training for future officers. The special officers could be maybe future officers at some point, either in our town or another town. So it's important to have more police on the street, and that's one way that we accomplish that. And it also cut down on our overtime by doing that, because a lot of times the police officer would make an arrest at the end of the night and have to do all the booking and be on overtime, as opposed to having a special police officer. That's their job. That's what they're going to be really good at. They're going to get better at. They're going to get the love the police position and hopefully move on to a regular police officer position. Abandoned houses. We do have some. We passed some new ordinances that's going to hold the financial institutions, the banks, for maintenance of the properties. Unfortunately, a lot of banks did some shady mortgages, and people got locked into some really bad balloon mortgages and couldn't afford them anymore and had to walk away from their houses, which abandons the house. And the bank is now the owner of that house. And banks had the opinion, oh, here in Brick, we're not going to do anything with that house. We'll just let the grass grow. We'll let the bushes grow. Well, no, we passed an ordinance now. Banks have to be responsible for their maintenance. And we're going to hold them to task. There's going to be fines imposed. There's going to be, you know, people's quality of life are affected by these houses, and it's not fair to live next to the house where you're paying your taxes, you're paying, and this bank is just letting these things go to, you know, go to waste. Sandy recovery. We worked with the state to obtain the steel wall over on the beach, 22 feet tall, buried under sand dunes, and it's a great thing. It's for protection of all Brick residents. It's going to protect, obviously, the ocean front. It's going to protect Route 35, which is the financial reason that the state said we needed it, which is fine, but it also protects all the houses on the bays, the back bays, the lagoons, the rivers. And that steel wall will hopefully prevent any type of flooding that we had similar to Sandy. If another storm comes like that along, hopefully that steel wall will hold up and do what it's supposed to, what the engineers say will do. We fought to remove structures from these V zones. Anybody who's in a flood zone, they know what a V zone is. V zone is you have to put your house up on pilings now. It costs a lot of money. Flood insurance is going to be very high. We were able to fight that, appeal that on behalf of people, and we were able to get 57 houses removed from this V zone, which saves hundreds of thousands of dollars for the people living in those houses. Hired our own inspectors. We no longer have to rely on inspectors from other towns. That was causing problems. It was causing delays. If Tom's River said they needed inspectors, of course they're hired by Tom's River. So we were getting delays. We were having problems. We have our own inspectors now here in town. Make the process go smoother, make it go faster, have our own people responsible for it, rather than have another town responsible for those things. And so that's kind of like a few things that we did. I don't want to talk too long, but I do want to look ahead to 2015. There's a lot more I could have covered, but I wanted to trim it down. Looking ahead to 2015, the future of the food town. Here it is. We're going on the 12th anniversary of owning this piece of property in the middle of our town. Everybody knows where it is. Everybody calls it the old food town site. If I was food town, I might say it's slander, because everybody looks at the food town site in a negative way, because it's not a positive thing. It's in the middle of our town. It's been empty. 6 years ago, a contract was entered with a redeveloper. Back in the 1930s, Hoover Dam was built in 5 years, less than 5 years. So the Hoover Dam, which cost $36 million back then, which would probably be hundreds of millions of dollars now, took less time than develop this food town site. Well, I said enough was enough in September, did the notice of termination. The contract terminated as of December 29th. Redeveloper decides to sue us, and his lawsuit is basically, I want to really build something there. Well, where have you been? It's been 6 years. I've been here for 9 months, and nothing has been built. There's been no plans in front of us, and so that's where we are with the food town site. We want to see something happen there. The contract is terminated. There is a lawsuit saying he wants to build something. We're fighting that lawsuit. Not only are we fighting that lawsuit, we're fighting a counterclaim saying we've been paying $465,000 a year for that piece of property. We've paid $3.9 million to date for that piece of property. You're costing us not only that money that's coming out of the taxpayer's pocket, but there's not taxpayer money going in. There's no ratables there. So not only $465,000 a year, we've all been paying this entire room. We're also missing out on $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 worth of taxes. So we're talking $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 a year. So that's our counterclaim. So those of you asking, oh, wait a minute, the guy's suing us. Oh, no, we're suing him. Let's put it that way. We're suing him back. And we have monetary losses. We're also looking at the new legislation addressing issues that we have here in town with absentee landlords. It's an ongoing problem. It's a problem with crime. You have landlords who are renting out houses, condominiums, whatever they may be, to people they're not doing background checks on, and they're causing community problems, they're causing crime problems, and those are the people, those absentee landlords are the ones that we're having a problem with. We need to have that system cleaned up so that we have safer neighborhoods and safe places for our kids to play. Community rating system. Going back to those of you who live near the water, have flood insurance. But we need to get into this program because property taxes are property taxes. They're always going to be there. Expenses are always going to be there. Flood insurance, if you live in that area, it's always going to be there. But we want to have that be a little bit less expensive for you. CRS is a program to allow the town to get flood insurance rebates for people up to 20%. And we're trying to get in it. We've been trying since January. We're going to actually be applying in April or May of this year when the applications are open again. And we should be able to get into it by October. Hopefully, definitely by this time next year, I can announce that we're in the CRS program. It's basically non-compliant houses have to come into compliance, or at least the town has to make an attempt to make those houses come into compliance. A lot of them are simple. They don't have enough flood vents on their house, or they have them in the wrong spot, and so they're non-compliant. You just move the flood vent a little bit, or you put a couple extra in. There you go. We'll be part of that system. We can get ourselves up to 20% discount on flood insurance, which is only going to go up, unfortunately. The Traders Cove. We're looking into outsourcing the marina at Traders Cove. I don't think government should be operating businesses. Let a company run a marina. We're not in the marina business. We're in the government business. We're trying to do what's right for the residents, and running a marina is not part of that. So we're looking into outsourcing the marina. We're also looking into bringing in a private restaurant at Traders Cove. That's going to bring in more revenue for the town. I talked about earlier about having non-tax revenue. Bringing a restaurant in. The restaurant owner wants to build a restaurant there. They want to sell food there. It's a great view. It's a great piece of property. Obviously, they're going to be paying the landlord, and we're not going to be an absentee landlord. We'll be there, and we'll get some of this non-tax revenue being brought in. Farmers market. I gave you some options earlier about the new businesses. I said, a couple of them. People might say, what the heck's going on? You have fast food coming. That's private industry. Private industry, they'll whatever makes money for private industry, that's what's going to go. But we also are going to have a healthy option. So on that 5th day, when you are tired of eating a little bit of fast food, we have a farmer's market. It's going to be up on Herbertsville Road. And it's going to be once a week between April and October, and it's going to be up at the Havens Homestead. It's going to be fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, honey, some crafts. And it's going to be a great thing. It's going to be a place to buy local. It's going to be local fruit, local vegetables. The honey, of course, people with the allergies, they say you have to eat the local honey. That'll be part of the whole thing. And it's going to be great because it's just going to be another place for families to go to, do something healthy, get outside, be outside, eat fruits and vegetables. We're also going to be renovating 3 new parks next year. The parks are going to be Lake Riviera Park, where they're going to have a playground, and we're going to revamp the entire park there. Colorado Park, there's going to be a basketball court and a playground there as well. And then also Angela Hibbert Park. So we have basically one park in the central, one in the north, one in the south. And Angela Hibbert Park is going to include 2 dog parks, one for bigger dogs, one for smaller dogs. It's also going to have a tennis court, and a pickleball court. Pickleball is the new rage of the seniors. Apparently at Greenbrier 1 are the leaders of this thing, but they might argue it at different villages. Greenbrier 1 has one on campus there, but it's a sport basically kind of with a wiffle ball and paddles, kind of like a giant ping pong table, I guess. So that's going over at Angela Hibbert. So 3 new parks because we want to make families' lives better. It doesn't matter if you have a 3-year-old son like I have, Jack, and he's going to run around and play on the slides and everything, or if you have a 85-year-old grandmother who's going to play pickleball at the pickleball courts. Everything in between. We have basketball. We have the dog park, so everybody, the dog lovers and everything, we want to take care of pet owners. And there you go. We're trying to get things moving. I do want to thank the members of the Township Council for your continued hard work and dedication to the town. I want to thank all the Brick Township municipal staff, all of the department heads, all down, all the way through to everybody, the part-timers and the summer staff and the seasonal staff. I want to, without none of these things that I spoke about tonight would be possible without the township workers. All of the DPW, the parks, the tax office, one after another. Thank you to Joanne Bergen, our new business administrator as of March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. Thank you for your leadership. And especially in these times, I'd like to thank the men and women of the Brick Township Police Department. They work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to keep our community safe. And I want each of the officers to know and the chief to know that the council and I appreciate your service, and we wholeheartedly support each and every one of you strongly, not like you see in other towns. So thank you, Chief. One instance I want to give. It just happened recently, but We had an officer, James Albanese. He's been an officer only since September of 2012. He had an opportunity. He happened to be driving through Windward Beach Park a few weeks ago when school was out, so he wanted to take a look, make sure everybody was safe in our park. And as he was driving through, a person came running up to his window saying a woman had just gone into the water. And he immediately called in to back up, called in for EMS, and stripped out of his the belt, took off his vest, and ran into the water. We're talking low 40s, high 30-degree water. Went in and saved their life. He was in the water for a period of time. The woman was unconscious when she came out. Other officers were there, Officer Talty, to give CPR, and her life was saved. Police officer was saved. But it's just one example, one instance only, about what our officers do here in town and how important they are to the safety of everybody. And just to be able to sacrifice yourself like that and not even think about it and know exactly, hey, take off the belt, take off the vest. And make sure those things don't weigh me down, because I'm gonna have to go in and save this person in the water. So it's a great job. So definitely proud of all we've accomplished and spoke about it, but we're definitely not done. We need to continue to work together. We have to fight a heroin epidemic that has invaded our community as well as others around us. So please, I want to ask all of you, join me in supporting BMAC and our police force as we fight that fight. We need to continue to attract new business ratables to help out our property taxes. So please join me in supporting our local businesses. The Buy-in Brick program makes it easy. Shop in brick, eat in brick, save money on your property taxes at the same time. Please join me in doing these things. We need to continue to improve our town, and I want your input. Come to the Mayor's Inn meeting. Come to a council meeting. Make a request online. Let us know how we can serve you. Let us know how we can better serve you. Above all, we need to continue to come together as a community to help make Brick Township better. No matter what our differences are, we have one thing in common. We all call Brick Township home. We all want what's best for our home. We all want what's best for our families. Over the past 12 months, I saw so many instances of people coming together to do what's best for our home, for our town. I'm so proud to be a member of this community and mayor of this town. And lastly, I want to thank each and every one of the residents of our great town for not only making it great, for keeping it great, and allowing me this great opportunity to be the mayor of your town. Thank you very much.
Thank you. At this time, I will call for nominations for the 2015 Council President.
I'd like to make a nomination. When I think about the person who will lead our council as president, knowing that they have such big shoes to fill from our outgoing Susan Lydecker with the tiniest feet with the biggest shoes, I think of someone who is most of all invested in our town. The person that I'm nominating has been a resident of Brick Township for years and years and years and has an absolute vested interest in making Brick better and furthering the mission of our good mayor and the council of helping Brick to achieve even greater things to come. The second thing I look for is compassion. Compassion toward the populations of Brick who need special care and special treatment. I watched this person help build the special needs park on Windward Beach. I watched this person help make the Veterans Corner beautiful again. I watched this person devote endless time and energy to making sure that the programs that we ran in Brick ran smoothly and did it with all of their heart. I look for transparency. I look for someone who tells it the way that it is so that everyone can understand it. People sitting up on this dais shouldn't be speaking a language that people can't understand. We're here to represent you because we're one of you. And the person that I am nominating is completely transparent, speaks their mind, and speaks it eloquently. The last thing that I look for in an incoming president is someone who's not afraid to take on challenges and not afraid to fight the good fight when it's necessary. And I can wholeheartedly say that I witnessed this individual take on issues and fight the good fight when it was necessary. For all of those reasons, I'd like to nominate Paul Mumolo as our next incoming council president.
I will second the nomination.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, may I have a motion to close nominations?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Moore, seconded by? Thank you. I will now take the roll for the 2015 Council President. Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Absolutely, yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilman Mumolo.
Yes.
Reluctantly.
At this time, Mayor Ducey will swear in the new Council President Mumolo.
We need missing one more. I, Paul Mumolo,
I, Paul Mumolo,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
that I will faithfully, impartially, justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of office of Council President,
of office of council president
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
and that I solemnly swear
And I solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments
and to the government
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yep.
Alrighty then. Okay, what I'd like to do is call for nominations for our council vice president.
Council President, I would like to be recognized. You got to do that now.
Whatever.
You have to recognize Susan.
I have to recognize Susan first. I'm sorry, Susan. See,
All
I
right.
knew I was gonna jump there. Councilwoman Lydecker, would you come down by the podium?
No, I want you, when I raise my hand to talk, you have to hold on.
Oh. Gotta get used to it.
Completely
Councilwoman
transparent.
Thank you. I know, it's very exciting. I was there 1 year ago myself. I want to nominate Councilwoman Heather DeYoung for Council Vice President. She always makes herself available to the township employees, the residents, the council members, and the mayor whenever called upon. And it's for this reason that I think, along with her working knowledge of Town Hall and all of our residents' needs, that if the need ever arose, she would be able to step into your new seat and be able to smoothly run our council meetings if needed.
I'd like to second that.
Do I have any other nominations? With that, I'd like to make a motion to close, motion and second to close the nomination.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
President Momolo.
Yes. You're going to go join us. Jumped ahead.
I, Heather DeYoung,
I, Heather DeYoung,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the office of Council Vice President
of the office of Council Vice President
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
and that I solemnly swear
and that I solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments
and to the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Linebecker, may I see you at the podium now? That was the proper time. The council and township would like to present you with Councilwoman Susan Linebecker with this plaque for your commitment and dedication to the council of the township of Brighton. Susan has worked hard throughout 2014 as a leader on the council and various committees and has contributed greatly in the efforts that have been made to make the township better. The council and I look forward to continuing working together. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for the lovely plaque. I'll get as much use out of this gavel as I did my official gavel. But that just means that we had a great year when you don't have to gavel down anybody. All of our meetings have ran very smoothly and efficiently. Everyone has been able to have their fair say. And real business has been accomplished this year, I'm very proud to say. I'd like to take all the credit for that, but really it's, I've been successful as council president because of the people I have around me. We had the election, and Mayor John G. Ducey now sits in that seat, and he gave us the power back to help serve our township and the people we represent. He gave council members access to town hall again and its employees, in turn letting us do our job and work for the residents again. We have Joanne Bergen, our business administrator, who is always prepared with every answer to every question you could ever think to ask, honestly, who works tirelessly to make sure that we have all the information we need to make the most educated decisions that we can for the town. And of course, our township council, Kevin Starkey, who has given us sound advice every step of the way. I want to recognize Jen Hartman, Because of all of her effort and her assistance, I've been able to answer every resident call that has come in and every email, and she helped me put together the Student of the Month program, which was something very important to me. And Lynette Iannarone, our clerk, who always makes herself available to the council and the staff to answer any questions we have about the township and items on the agenda. And of course, the job is much easier and much more satisfying to have a fabulous council who works together as a team to really push this town forward and to make Brick a better place to live and to thrive. Congratulations to our first-year members. All of you have so enthusiastically found your place in the township, and you're really doing an outstanding job. And it's been my pleasure to serve as your council president. And of course, to my family, I thank them for all their support. They've always been able to step in for me when I needed their help, to give me the time to be a council person and to volunteer and assist for my township. And lastly, but most importantly, I want to thank those that watch from the comfort of their home and all of you that come to the meetings week after week for the respect that you show for the proceedings, for each of the council members of the administration and the employees, and for each other, even when we disagree. How these meetings are conducted and the civility that is shown here, meeting after meeting, is a testament to all that we have accomplished in these last few years, and that you know that we are here for you, to hear your concerns and to help and facilitate change when needed. For all these reasons, we are successful together, and I'm looking forward to 2015, and I'm looking forward to the future of Brick, because I truly believe that it is a bright one. Thank you again.
Thank you. I'd like to thank my fellow council members for their support and confidence in leadership in the council for 2015. I'd also like to thank my wife and children for their support over the past year and look forward to their continued support. And I'm probably not going to be home as much as I was last year. As my first year as councilman came to an end, we, meaning the council, mayor, and administration, have addressed many concerns of the citizens of Brick. Many of the issues have been resolved, and many of them are still being worked on. With the leadership and support of Mayor John Ducey and our administrative staff, I look forward to leading the council in 2015 and serving the people of Brick as council president. I thank you for this opportunity. Mayor, would you like to read off your appointments?
Yes, a number of appointments. Thank you, Mr. President. I also want to thank Debbie Murphy for putting this list, for everything she does, but putting this list together for me, because without her, I wouldn't know the list and I probably wouldn't have an appointment and know where I'm supposed to go for my various appointments. First, we have Sustainable Brick Township, Glenn Campbell, Janine Cava-Rogers, Karen Cusinelli, the Board of Education rep, Robert Checkeye, Michael Fowler, John Hyfantis as the chairman, Joe Lamb, Brian Mursky as the Chamber of Commerce representative, Stephen Specht as the MUA representative, and Leah Thiel as the Environmental Commission representative. Number 2, the Historic Preservation Society. Of course, Jean Donatello, Richard Gross as the Planning Board representative, Dominic Longo, and Bob Coda. The Environmental Commission, John Achille, Garrett Tony Kono, Art Halloran as the Planning Board representative, Daniel McLaughlin, and George Frame. The Architectural Review Committee, Charles Bacon, Michelle Strassheim, Alyssa Cummins, and Michael Fowler. And lastly, the Planning Board, John Mention, Bernie Cook, Art Halloran as the Environmental Commission representative, Richard Gross as alternate 1, and Cosmo Ochigrosso, alternate 2. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to call for a motion and a second to appoint Class 3 Planning Board member.
Motion.
I'd like,
Motion by Councilwoman Fontanaro.
I'll withdraw my motion, if you want to make your motion.
no, we have to make a motion to appoint the council member.
Yeah.
So,
Go ahead.
oh, I make a motion to appoint Council President Mumalo.
Oh, I'm making the notes here.
I'll second.
We have a second. Do we have any other nominations? No. Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilman Moore,
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontarero.
Yes.
Vice President DeYoung.
Yes.
President Mamalo.
Yes.
Thank you. Consent agenda. All matters listed under item consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. If discussion is desired on any item, this item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Would anybody like to remove anything from the consent agenda? Item number 19-1, establish council meeting dates for 2015. 19-2, establish bank depositories cash management plan for 2015. 19-3, authorize payment for the township's 2015 debt service.
I'd like to have our business administrator explain that.
Sure.
Thank you very much. This is our annual plan as part of our debt reduction program, the overall program that has been in place by the mayor. This keeps us on track with, by the end of your first term, Mayor, that we will have reduced our debt by at least $4 million.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 19-4, authorize 2015 temporary budget. 19-5, designate public agency compliance officer. 19-6, designate agent for taxing district, Ocean County Board of Taxation. 19-7, authorize petty cash funds. 19-8, authorize advice and consent for fair and open professional services contract with municipal attorney. And that appointment will be going to the firm of Starkey, Kelly, Keneally, Cunningham, and Turnbeck. Item 19-9, authorize advice and consent for fair and open professional services contract with municipal prosecutor and conflict prosecutor. The municipal prosecutor will be Michael Burns from the firm of Rothstein, Mandel, Strom, and Helm. The conflict prosecutor will be Lonnie Lombardi from the firm of Gleary, Jacoby, Alfieri, and Jacobs. 1910 is authorize advice and consent for fair and open professional service contract with alternate municipal prosecutor. That appointment will be going to Eric Brophy from the firm of Diegman and Brophy, and Douglas Singletary and Greg Pasquale from the firm of Shane, Schaefer, and Raffinello. 1911, authorize advice and consent for fair and open professional service contract with municipal public defender, alternate public defender, and conflict public defender. The municipal public defender will be Matthew Sage. The alternate public defender will be Brian DeStefano, Sean Gertner from the firm of Gertner, Mandel, and Peslak, Leab Klein, Charles Tivenin, Nicholas Montenegro from the firm of Montenegro, Thompson, Montenegro, and Gentz, Anthony Pagano from the firm of Hagan, Pagano, and Seams, Adam Stewerman and Raymond Bogan from the firm of Simmons, Cantoli, Bogan, and West, and Matthew Series. Conflict Public Defender is Leab Klein, Charles Tivenin, Nicholas Montenegro from the firm of Montenegro, Thompson, Montenegro, and Gentz, Anthony Pagano from the firm of Hagan, Pagano, and Seams, Adam Stewerman and Raymond Bogan from the firm of Fitzsimmons, Cantoli, Bogan, and West, and Carolyn Carlson. Item 1912, authorize mayor to enter into the fair and open professional service contract for legal counsel for redevelopment issues. Am I going too fast? No?
No, you're good. It's fine.
Legal counsel for redevelopment is McManaman, Scotland, and Bauman. 1913, authorize mayor to enter into fair and open professional service contract for municipal auditor. That will be the auditing firm of Fallon and Larson. For 1914 is authorize mayor to enter into fair and open professional service contract for professional accountant services. That contract is being awarded to professional Bauman and Company. Item number 15, authorize mayor to enter into fair and open professional service contract for Affordable Housing Council. The Affordable Housing Council is awarded to Jeffrey Cernian and Associates. Authorize the mayor to enter into fair and open professional service contract for grantsman. That'll go to Millennium Strategies. Item 17, authorize the mayor to enter into fair and open professional service contract for legal services pool. The Labor Council is Dakotas, Fitzpatrick, and Cole. Tax Appeal Council is Starkey, Kelly, Keneally, Cunningham, and Turnback. Tax Foreclosure Council is Goldenberg, Mackler, Say, Mintz, Pfeiffer, Bonchi, and Gill. Attorney Pool is Durkin and Durkin, Shane, Schaefer, and Raffanello, Deignan and Brophy, Gilmore and Monahan, Montenegro, Thompson, Montenegro, and Gens, Wisniewski and Associates, Kelleher, Van Dyke, and Moriarty, Dakotas, Fitzpatrick, and Cole, Charles Tivenin, Florio, Perucci, Steinhardt, and Fader, C. Karen Hensel, Leitner, Tort, DeFazio, Leitner, and Browse, King, Kittrick, Jackson, McWeeny, Wiener, and Leisniak, Gertner, Mandel, and Peslak. Number 18, authorize mayor to enter into fair and open professional service contract for engineer service, surveying and environmental engineering pool. The engineering surveying pool is Mazer Consultant, D.W. Smith Associates, Adam, Raymond, and Hagan, Suburban Consulting Engineers, H2M Associates, T&M Associates, CME Associates, Matrix New World, and the environmental is Prestige Environmental. Number 19 is authorized purchasing agent to enter into certain contracts for the purchases and services with certain vendors under state contracts. Number 20, authorize execution of Schedule C agreement with County of Ocean.
Madam Clerk?
Yes.
I'd like to have Councilman Fosman explain that, please.
Sure.
Yes, thank you, Council President. This is an interlocal service, authorizes Township of Brick to enter into a contract for the provisions of certain government services with Ocean County. This act requires such a contract to be authorized by resolution or ordinance. And what this is, we go with the county. It includes up to $250,000 that we ask the county to do some work for us, and it's at their rate, so they're not making any money on this. And we haven't used them. We ask them to do things. If they have the time, they do it. But recently, they have been very busy, and they haven't been able to in the last few years to do our requests. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 21, authorize 2 members and 1 alternate, 1 member to the Board of Adjustment. Those appointments, did you want to announce those appointments? Or you
I
want me
was
to?
going to, yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
go
read
ahead,
from
I'm
him.
sorry.
That's okay. The appointments are Joseph Morel as a member, Steve Leitner as a member, and Jeff Schneider as alternate number 1, Board of Adjustment.
Thank you.
1922, authorize appointments of Property Maintenance Board. Mayor, would you like to read them?
Property maintenance, this board is the one that looks at houses that are not being maintained properly, and recommendations are made to either repair or tear down if it comes to an extreme example. The new members are also the current members. They include George Savasco, Joe Gilsonen, James Hogan, Richard Mattson, and George Scott. They all asked to be reappointed to our newly formed Property Maintenance Board.
Thank you. 1923, authorize appointments to the Tourist Development Commission. Vice President DeYoung, would you like to read them off, please?
Thank you, Council President Momolo. The Tourism Development Commission works to, of course, bring tourism to our town. We, last year, were able to work with the different businesses and work with some of the township programs. We were left with an $80,000 pot of money that is collected not through taxes but through fees of local businesses. So with that, last year we were able to better advertise for Summerfest, do a lot of things with our Buy and Brick program. along with other advertisement for the marina and other things. This year, we are again looking to do the same for Summerfest and, of course, expand and advertise our Buy in Brick program to bring people into Brick and shop there. And I would like to reappoint, or the council would like to reappoint, Tarun Patel and Patrick Kirchi to the Tourism Development Commission.
Thank you. 1924, authorized appointments to the Ethics Information Committee. It will be Council President Paul Mumolo, myself, Councilwoman Andrea Zapsik, Councilman Jim Fosman, Bill Nefsey, Mark Ellsworth, and Michael Blandina. 1925, authorized appointment of residential commissioners to the Housing Authority. That will be James Conroy. 1920, is that 27?
26.
You're going on
26.
26.
What's that?
You're going on 26.
I'm going on to 26?
Mm-hmm.
Why did I just read that? Oh, here we go. Where's my 26? Can I have it? Thank you. Surprised I didn't have this one. This is the authorized appointment of Commissioner and Alternate 1 to the Municipal Utilities Authority. The commissioner will be James C. Bayard, and the alternate one will be Gregory Flynn. I lost it in my package. 1927A, this is recognized incoming officers at various EMS and fire companies. And 27A is, I'm going to have council people help me with this. Brick Township Volunteer EMS. Councilwoman Ponterero, would you help me with that? Thank
I
you.
will certainly help you. I'd like to read the entire resolution just because I think it's important for this
Sure.
very
Amen.
wonderful organization. Whereas the community of Brick Township is blessed to have a number of selfless, dedicated individuals who volunteer their time to ensure that persons in need of emergency services and medical attention are taken care of, and whereas the members of the Brick Volunteer EMS are such individuals, and whereas through their exemplary service to the community, the members of the Brick Volunteer EMS have treated and comforted thousands of people and have often meant the difference between life and death. Whereas the Brick Township Volunteer EMS has installed its 2015 officers, and whereas the new officers of the Brick Township Volunteer EMS are President Douglas Dorhofer, Vice President Linda Mara, Secretary Mary Ferguson, Treasurer John Vondras, Trustees George Brown, Dennis Gino, and Pat Troy, Captain Kevin Gillespie, First Lieutenant, and Saul Milworm, and Second Lieutenants Dennis Gino and Chris Nagy. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey on as follows. Number one, that the Township Council commends and thanks the Brick Township Volunteer EMS volunteer members for their dedication and exemplary service to our community. And number two, that the Township Council congratulates the new officers of the Brick Township Volunteer EMS and wishes them the best of success in the coming year.
Thank you. 27B, recognize 2015 incoming officers for Brenton Woods Fire Company. Vice President DeYoung.
Bretton Woods Fire Company, number one, has an outstanding tradition of service to the community dating back to 1935. And the new officers of the Bretton Woods Fire Company, number one, are President Christopher Fredericks, Vice President William Curtis, Secretary Pete Savage, Treasurer David Brown, Chief Kevin Exposito, Captain James Riccio, Lieutenant Brian Strider, Safety officers Brian Pope, Fred Pope Jr., and Thomas Bisball.
Thank you. 27C, recognize 2015 incoming officers for the Herbertsville Fire Company. Councilman Fosman.
Thank you, Council President. Herbertsville Fire Company, number one, has an outstanding tradition of service to the community dating back to 1936. And the new officers of the Herbertsville Fire Company, number one, are President Arthur Bloomer, Vice President Michael DeCanta, Treasurer Barry Osborne, Secretary Robert Salmon, and Assistant Treasurer James Lepore, Chief William Robbins, Assistant Chief David Sanchez, Captain James Lepore, First Lieutenant Daniel Sanchez, Second Lieutenant Michael Candida, and Second Lieutenant James Scott Jr.
Thank you. 1927D, recognize 2015 incoming officers for Lawton Fire Company. Councilman Moore, would you like to help me with that?
Sure, thank you, Mr. President. I'm more than happy to help out my brothers. Arlington Fire Company has an outstanding tradition of service to the community dating back to 1930. The selfless, dedicated individuals who volunteer as firefighters often put their own lives on the line to help and save fellow members of our community. Every day, these quiet heroes of volunteer fire companies stand ready, willing, and able to help those in need. And the Arlington Fire Company, which is my department, the new line officers, starting with the president, would be David May. The vice president is William Bear. Treasurer is Joseph Polovich, Jr. Recording secretary is John Heffern III. Corresponding secretary is David Wass. Sergeant of Arms is Patrick Sharkey. Trustees is Kenny Johnson, Bradford Crott, and John Heffern Sr. Robert Skillman and William Stoughton. Our officers, starting with our chief, will be Ed Platt. Assistant chief is Timothy Cramner, Jr. Captains is Joe Lozinski, Paul Mazzio, and Dave Bernberg. Those are our captains.
Thank you. 1927E, recognize 2015 incoming officers, Pioneer Hose Fire Company. Councilwoman Zapsek, would you like to help me with that?
Thank you, Council President. Pioneer Hose Fire Company number 1 is the first fire company founded in Brick Township, and their outstanding tradition of service to the community dates back to 1927. Their incoming officers are President Michael Berger, Vice President Anthony Phoebus, Secretary Mark Mowinkle, Treasurer John Coster, Trustees Jeff Bonsignor, Ed Slowinski, Peter Quinlan, Frank Latour, and Chris Marison. Chief is Joseph Lacandro, Assistant Chief Dave Lindholm, Captain Ron Gaskell, First Lieutenant Fran Delaney, Second Lieutenant Joe Ferrara, and Engineer John Coster.
Thank you. This is the end of the consent agenda. I'd like to call for a motion and a second to end the consent agenda.
Make a motion?
Second.
Councilman Fosman made the motion, second by Councilwoman Pontorero. At this point, I'd like to open public questions on resolutions. With no questions, I'd like to close public. Roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Yes.
Vice President DeYoung.
Yes.
President Mumalo.
Yes.
Thank you.
1928 manual bill resolution.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Manual bill resolution in the amount of $13,396,966.76.
Like a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Pontorero, second by Council Vice President DeYoung. At this point, I'd like to open to the public. What's that? For public comments. Open to the public for public comments. Sir in the back?
This will only be public comments on the bill resolution.
Bill resolution. That's right. Okay. No questions? Close to public. Roll call?
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Yes.
Vice President DeYoung.
Yes.
President Mumalo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now I'll open it to public comment. Thank you. Gentleman in the back. You're supposed to help me with that. You're jumping.
Sam Foster, 108 Chico Drive. Sorry about that. I'm having another one of my nights tonight, so thank you for bearing with me. I just want to say, first of all, I want to start out the new administration with another congratulations to Mayor Ducey. You did do a good job of complimented you in the past, and you did a really good job with the traffic lights, removing them. Also, the Food Town developer, the termination of that, it has been dragging on for a long time. I read in the newspaper, and you mentioned it yourself about how much money we're paying every year on that. And it's about time that someone did something about this site because it is such a mess, you know, and I'm glad that someone's doing something about it. And I had a question for you. This is public comments now, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Apologize about it. This Brick Civic Plaza, a prior administration tried to sell it. And at that time, the only bid we got in, I think, was $750,000. That was with a bad real estate market. The economy has improved since then, and the real estate market has recovered somewhat. Are there any plans to sell the Brick Civic Plaza? Does anybody have any information about that? Because I believe it's assessed at $1.2 million. Am I correct? Because that would be a good.
I would like our township attorney to.
The Civic Plaza is currently fully rented out right now. It is being used for some, not only private uses, tenants, but also for some township uses. And I don't believe there's currently a plan in the works for the sale of that property.
Yeah, because I live in that development. I know that the former Allstate section, that's still empty though. That's, and the other, we don't get, how does it work when we have a township, like the Brick EMS is in there and the recreation department? We can't charge ourselves rent, am I correct? Or is there something that could be done in the budget, or are we generating any rent from that?
Yep. The good news is we own that piece of property outright, so we no longer pay any mortgage on it or anything. That was the problem in the past, is that we didn't own it, so we're looking into different options of possibly selling it. Now we own it, so we don't have enough room in this building, obviously, to house a recreation department, to house EMS services and all. So we would have to rent space somewhere else or
Gotcha.
expand our
Yeah.
building. So now that's perfect. Since we own it, we're going to try to rent out everything. We recently rented out the Brick Fitness for women, and there was a brand.
Okay. So all rent we get from that is free and clear, so just no.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Sir?
Hi. John Sluka, 950 Sylvia Court. My letter, basically, which I wrote today, so some people may not have seen it. Dear Mayor Ducey and the council members, let me say to one and all, obviously, congratulations. And I do hope, a sincere hope, anyhow, that this year's administration and council and whole combination of Brick Township will be as productive as everybody was in 2014. I am writing this note, which is basically started as a note. However, as a thank you to the mayor, Friday I was told that he appeared on CBS News 2 New York in defense of the residents impacted by the parkway's destruction. Since I didn't get to see it on TV, I did call it up on CBS website news video, and it seemed to go over well. Mayor, you seem truly concerned and extremely frustrated by the NJTA's action, and this came across well. In your face, I could almost see, I felt this frustration that you must have felt, because that you seem to show it at the state government, the county government, and those various state agencies. The reporter did call me up Friday and asked me to make a comment about the parkway and said she was going to do a video in some of the areas, so I said I would meet her at one of the children's bus stops, and she did meet me there. Along with the mayor, I did speak to her for a while, and they did film for about 20 minutes or so. The video included the mayor for about a minute, the scenery or the lack thereof for about another minute, and total lasted about 2 minutes and 15 seconds on the news channel. And this ran on, as a local part, I believe, of the national broadcast all over the Northeast, because it was Channel 2 New York. Recently, after that, the next day actually, I typed into the computer CBS News New York, And one of the links that came up was their news, and the video was in that news program itself on the computer as well. So at that point, I did view it, and once again, I'd like to thank the mayor for his concern. It's amazing how many people saw that news channel. And so many people said they could not believe the devastation and the noise shown. A few actually said they came down the Parkway over the holidays and were appalled at the damage to our once beautiful environment. Some said they couldn't understand how the mayor could allow this to happen. I even mentioned at the time how the mayor and council have been making an effort, but were basically powerless. The biggest and probably untrue and unfair response was, well, if it was in their neighborhood, I bet you would get some action. Look how the mayor actually, I believe, the last mayor, that's what they told me, got action for all the people with money who lived on the beaches, and the Parkway destruction started before that happened at Sandy. With comments like that, it should be understandable why people do not vote. They feel that politicians, big business, and big government all work together for the benefit of a few. It is true that most of us really don't believe what was said, a lot of these people are saying, but we used to say that perception is reality, and the only way to change perception is to help the little people. Those people who don't have the big dollars or the high-end friends in government and business see it that way. The NJTA commissioners are big donors, big unions, and big business and big government with big government friends, and a community like Brick can't even get the governor of the state to even stop by for 15 minutes to view the situation that in fact is killing almost all of us Brick residents. The many studies that have been presented to the council, the county officials, state leaders are basically ignored by the big government agency because they feel they are on these commissions as a reward for years of loyal membership in the club of big business. Once again, sorry that this letter's so late. Obviously, this morning I wrote it out in about 15 minutes. I actually read it here for the first time at my seat when I came in. But I did it in 15 minutes, but it was just a reminder. It was a short period of time. I was supposed to be out of town and last-minute changes. So once again, thanks for your help. Mayor, thanks for your help. I know you've been working. Council people, I know you've been doing it, but we still have to do more, and I don't know what that is. But again, that's what the council's for, I believe. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Sir in the back?
Richard Gross, 29 Greenbrier Boulevard. I want to thank everybody here present for the amount of work and effort that they put in this past year. And I'm sure Paul will force everybody to do at least as good as it's been in the past. I want to thank the mayor for the two appointments, and I wish you all a happy and healthy new year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public? With that, I'll close public and go to our administrative comments and then council.
Thank you very much. I would actually like to make a brief comment. I wanted to say that I feel very confident right now, speaking on behalf of all township employees, when I say thank you, Mayor, very much, and council, for your support. We are only as good as our leaders are. And thanks to all of you, we love our jobs. We come to work every day. Very proud to serve the Township of Brick, very proud to serve our residents, and of course, very proud to serve you. So thank you very much for all that you do for us.
Thank you. Mayor?
Just I want to say that Council Vice President from last year, Jim Fosman, did a great job, and Council President Susan Leidecker did an awesome job last year. Congratulations on keeping the council together and keeping the meetings moving. And I'm sure the new Council Vice President and President will do the same this year. Thank you.
Counselor?
Council President, yes, I'd just like to say to members of the council, thank you for your continued confidence in me and my firm, and best of luck to Council President Mumolo and Council Vice President DeYoung.
Thank you.
Nothing else, thank you.
Mr. Moore?
Very
Councilman
quickly,
Moore.
Mr. President, congratulations.
Thank
Vice
you.
President, congratulations.
Thank you.
To our residents, Happy New Year. Please be safe out there and stay warm. Thank you.
Councilwoman?
Thank you. I'd like to thank Councilwoman Lydecker and Councilman Fosman for their help and assistance for me kind of coming in new and cold last year. They were tremendously helpful. I appreciate everything they did for me and the leadership that they showed in this council. And I congratulate Council President Momolo and Council Vice President DeYoung. It's going to be a good year. The mayor mentioned BMAC. I would like to report that we received our eligibility letter from the county. That's, of course, state funding that funnels through the county. Brick Township is eligible for just a few dollars under $40,000. Our obligation is to match that 25% in cash, and that money has been set aside through the money that was fundraised by the BMAC Golf Tournament in the fall and at Summerfest. Our business administrator was out selling glow necklaces, and with the assistance of the volunteer firemen, we were able to do 50-50. So that 25% is already accounted for, so it will not be raised from the taxpayer. And then we have a 75% in-kind match, and we'll be working with the assistance of the chief and the police department to make those numbers work. So basically, it's about $80,000 total that we'll be able to put to work for Brick Township in combating the drug problem that we are currently experiencing. That being said, I mentioned this the last time. I do want to repeat it because it's coming up in the coming week. There's a program at the Pine Belt Arena on January 15th from 6 to 8 p.m. It's called Playing It Clean. It's a sports forum for student athletes, and it features a number of professional athletes that will be there to talk about substance abuse and the fact that it really doesn't have any role in sports. And then again, what I mentioned at the last meeting, we now have a hotline in New Jersey called New Jersey Connect for Recovery that's dedicated specifically to dealing with opiate addiction. So if you or a family member needs help, you can call the New Jersey Connect for Recovery hotline, and that number is 855-652-3737. And I did send all this information to Ed Maroney, our public information officer, to see if we can disseminate that throughout social media and our other networks in Brick Township. Wish everyone a Happy New Year. Thank you all for coming out. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Lydecker?
It's tough getting used to not speaking last. Keeps throwing me off.
There's not much to say when you're the last one.
No, that's what makes it easy. I gave a pretty lengthy speech earlier, so I just want to say, best wishes and best of luck to everyone in the new year, except for Council President Momolo, because I know he's going to do a great job running the council, and I'm looking forward to coming into the last year of my term thus far, to working with all the great people up here and with our mayor and his administration. And thank you again to everyone out there that's made being council president such a great experience, and I hope that you have the same one. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman?
Thank you, Council President. Happy New Year, Brick Township. This is looking like another exciting year for all residents, and I thank each and every one for their efforts in helping make Brick a better place to live. And thank you to the VFW, number 8867, for your excellent presentation this evening. And I'd like to say that I was at the American Legion today with Mayor Ducey and Council President Momolo. They were naming the Route 35 bridge between Brielle and Point Pleasant, and it was named the Veterans of All Wars Memorial Bridge. Before, the name was temporary, but it's only lasted 1 year, years ago. So this is the final name that they came up with, and then congratulations to those. It was a fabulous year for the year of 2015, with Mayor Ducey having outlined his fantastic forward-looking vision of our community. I am proud and excited to once again have the opportunity to work with him and his great group of councilwomen and councilmen who work tirelessly as a team to better serve you, our residents. Thank you to the outgoing council president, Susan Lydecker, for keeping our meetings organized and on point. It has been refreshing for all. My congratulations to Council President Paul Momolo, who I know will do a fine job, and to the Council Vice President, Heather DeYoung. Congratulations to you as well. As a taxpayer and a resident for 28 years and former business owner, I am humbled by the stories having been shared with me by so many within the community. It gives me great pleasure to continue and to be here for all of you. Having received so many thank yous from those I have been able to help reminds me how rewarding it is to serve the residents of Brick. With Mayor Ducey at the helm, we are a very lucky community. He has outlined one of the most positive plans Brick has seen in a long time. The ship is moving ahead and the crew is on board. And with that, have a great evening, everyone, and Happy New Year again. Thank you.
Councilwoman?
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I want to congratulate President Momolo and also Vice President DeYoung, and I know that you're going to do a fabulous job. And I also want to thank former President Lydecker, former Vice President Bosman for their excellent work. I also want to thank our mayor for being our steadfast leader at the helm and helping us to accomplish anything that we set our minds to. Working with an administration who wants to see the right thing happen for our town is refreshing and it is rewarding. And I'm very proud to say that that's what it's been like to work with this team of council and with our mayor and with our BA. I don't consider myself to be a politician. In fact, I'm a little offended by that word when people say it. I consider myself to be a mother. I consider myself to be a business owner. I'm a resident. I'm a person who wants to live in a good community and see that community thrive. And I'm happy to sit where I'm sitting right now, where I can help make decisions that will make Brick better. And with the people that are surrounding me, I'm absolutely confident that we will be able to do that in 2015 and forward. So for all of that, I thank you. Please remember, Thursday is supposed to be the coldest day of the year. Please remember our senior citizen friends. At the coldest day of the year, please just knock on their door, ask them if they need groceries, ask them if they need a ride somewhere. Please don't forget our seniors, especially when it's so tragically cold. A lot of seniors die of hypothermia for staying and waiting for buses, waiting for transportation. And I would also point out that the person who was saved by our police officer was a senior, which reminds us all that we never know what someone else is feeling unless we take the time to talk to them. So take the time to get to know your neighbors. And 35% of our neighbors are senior citizens. So, and if there's anybody who's interested in adopting animals, this is the time of year where we are overstocked on animals. Please go and utilize the services of our Jersey Shore Center, where they have a wonderful adoption program. So I've been asked to, again, ask anyone who's interested in adopting, please put in an application. There is a waiting period. It's not as easy as just saying, I want a kitten and take it home, because they want to make sure that these animals have a good place to live forever. With that, thank you all for all of your help and all of your support, and I wish all you all the best for 2015. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Vice President?
Yes. I'd like to thank you to the council for their confidence in me to be vice president. Also, I wish Council President Momolo very good health and to not go on vacation during his tenure. And I know you will do a great job leading this council, and I look forward to 2015. It wouldn't be a council meeting without my public service announcements. So for Buy-in Brick program, we've had quite a few new vendors register. Vinny's Pizzeria, Cigars and More, F Cove Restaurant, and the Kitty Academy are the newest of our Buy-in Brick merchants. We are also still collecting our resumes for our citizens committees, which are Budget, Redevelopment, Senior Action, Disabled, Community, Neighborhood Watch, and Veterans. And as we start 2015, I look forward to working together as this council and with the mayor to make Brick better and to work with the residents. We really appreciate when we hear from you and hear any issues or concerns or what we're doing good. We really appreciate that sort of feedback. And I would just like to say thank you so much and for coming out on this snowy little evening. Thank you.
Thank you. First off, I'd like to thank the VFW Color Guard for coming out and leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Did a great job. We saw them all today with the mayor and Councilman Fosman. I'd like to thank the township clerk for assisting me in the beginning of the meeting, reading off all those names. Did a much better job than I would have done, that's for sure. It's been a pleasure to work with the department heads, everyone in town, administration-wise, mayor. I've had a most enjoyable year. I feel we did a very productive year, and I'm looking forward to doing more productive stuff in 2015. And thank you, council, for allowing me to be your leader in 2015. The next meeting is going to be Tuesday, January 20th at 7 p.m. I'd like to get a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
There you go.